Hello there, YouTube. This is a video response to the Gentleman Gamer's question about improvising versus planning in games mastering, a role-playing game. Like him, I initially was a heavy planner. I used to go into very complex plots that made very little sense, but they were enjoyed. It wasn't a case of people were saying, "Oh, this is too linear" or "this is too," because I think the groups that I had were kind of used to having sort of pre-written adventures run for them, so they were used to linear. They were used to, and they did come up with ways of messing with my plots and acting in ways that I couldn't anticipate. But I always managed to pull back and work it out. There was I think, a turning point in my games mastering, which was during a playtest of Chav the Knifing. Phil Hutchins, one of the playtesters, turned around and he said, "Look, this is a great game, but it would only work to get people like me games mastering if you produced a lot of adventures for it that they could pick and choose from. I don't like writing up adventures in any way that can be deciphered apart from me." Yes, apologies to anybody who has got themselves a copy of the Chav the Knifing adventure. It is basically my notes cleaned up a bit, but when it comes down to it, he has a point. If we are to proliferate this great hobby of ours, we need to make it accessible, and we need games masters. More than we need players, we need games masters, because the more people running it, well, games masters happen to be the ones that buy the books to start with, but that's beside the point. The more we have people running it, the more games there are out there. And I set about, from that point, creating games where the games master's job was a lot easier. Tough Justice was my first attempt, and I think it works in a kind of way, but when it comes to some of those random tables and the setting, I think it will probably take somebody very experienced in improvisation to run Tough Justice as a randomised trial. Most people will probably want a pre-made defendant, which is fortunately put 6 of them in the back of the book. Courtesans was kind of a step backwards, because although you don't have to write an adventure as such, you do have to write those sodding love letters, which can take forever. I know that, especially when it gets to sort of your second or your third season, and people's scandal scores are ridiculously through the roof. They're pulling in about, say, 19 admirers. That's 19 different letters you've got to write, 19 different personalities you've got to sort of sketch out. It's not good. Doxy, I think, was the point at which I succeeded in creating the game where you can just improvise straight off, and it works well with that setting because of the fact that Doxy does not know what she's going to run into next, and that random element is welcome in that setting. I think if you want to introduce people to games mastering, it is. Some people say it's harder to improvise. I disagree. I'd say improvising is more intuitive than playing from a crib sheet, and that's what I've intended in writing my games ever since Phil turned around to me and said, "You need to write adventures for these." Well, Phil, I didn't write adventures. I wrote games that don't need adventures. I will be going back to writing games that need adventures with Transported and CID, but Hopefully I'll be able to come up with enough ideas in the Games Master sections that people won't be too stumped for coming up with their own. Anyhow, that's my little thoughts. I thought you'd appreciate not only a member of the YouTube community but an actual games designer coming in on this debate. Chat to you later, guys.